I feel like I've been reading everywhere lately about Animal Crossing burnout. All of us have been playing this game non-stop since it came out in April, or in my case May, since I bought it a little bit later. Instead of trying to force myself to make another Animal Crossing tutorial this week like I've done for the last two, I decided it was time to be a productive human being again and get back to drawing. As sort of a transition from Animal Crossing obsessed potato to semi-productive doodler, I thought it would be fun to turn the characters from one of my favorite TV shows into Animal Crossing villagers. It's been really cool over the last few months to see the Avatar fandom sort of surge back into life after forgetting the show existed for a few years. The show was a big part of my childhood. I remember every time there was a new episode, my dad and I would sit down and watch it together, and I argued with my dad a lot when I was a kid through my teenage years. It's not his fault, I was just a really bratty kid, so these moments where we just enjoyed the show together always felt really special to me. So for these character designs, I kept in mind a few things. I wanted to stay true to the original personalities of the Avatar characters, but I also wanted to see if I could imagine them in a way that would morph into the Animal Crossing universe really seamlessly. Meaning I also wanted to consider things like villager personality, catchphrase, and common things you would see these villagers doing on a normal day on an island. I sketched these out on paper first because I just don't really enjoy sketching on the program that I'm using, which is Paint Tool Sai, and I'm using a Wacom Bamboo tablet. However, I am the proud new owner of an iPad Pro, and I've really been enjoying using that, so I can definitely see myself using that with Procreate for all future videos that I do like this. For Aang and for most of these designs, I didn't want to just make them normal animals, because those are very rare in the Avatar universe. In fact, the only one that we saw was the Earth King's bear in Season 2. So I decided to make Aang a winged lemur like Momo, although looking at it now I realize I forgot to give him little wings. Oops. I went with a lemur over a bison like Appa because I just feel like it fits Aang's very bouncy personality better. For personality, I'm going to break the rules a little bit on some of these, but not too much. The only villager personality that I really see Aang fitting into is a lazy villager type because he's definitely not smug, he's not cranky, and he's not a jock. So I'm categorizing him as lazy, which I think can work since Aang really likes to take detours throughout the series away from his Avatar responsibilities to seek out fun creatures or adventures, especially throughout Season 1. I don't think he's a lazy character, but he definitely does like to goof off. Typical things that I can see Aang doing around the island is probably a lot of Naruto sprinting across the plaza. Which I know lazy villagers don't do that much, but like I said, I'm bending the rules a little bit on these. When he's not doing that, I imagine he would be doing yoga or meditating and maybe occasionally fishing, but if you talk to him while he's fishing, he would assure you that he's not going to eat the fish because he is a vegetarian, he just thinks it's fun to do, and he throws them back after he catches them. And finally, for his catchphrase, I think it would be none other than yip yip! For both Sokka and Katara, I didn't make them into any special creatures because I feel like neither of these characters ever really had a special connection with an animal like the other characters in the series did. What I did do is I made them into wolves. I got this idea from the Water Tribe Warrior helmets that we see worn a few times throughout the series. I don't remember if it's ever explicitly mentioned if there's any significance to the helmets being wolves, but I think it was a nice adaptation, and I like the way the colors ended up looking together. Katara I imagined to be an Uchi villager, as Katara is definitely the mom of the Avatar group, and it's explained in the series that Katara helped take over as a motherly figure in the family after their mother was killed. On a typical day, I imagine Katara spending a lot of time by the ocean and by any rivers you've built through your island. She's either meditating or doing yoga by the water, or she's in her home reading a book about waterbending. I also imagine that every time you talk to Katara, she talks about her mother back at home, which is something that normal type villagers do a lot, but like I said, I'm bending the rules. She talks about how the water reminds her of her mother, how her mother sacrificed herself. It's all she talks about. And whenever she has a conversation with another villager, if the other villager says something that makes her mad, she says something about her mom and how hard she had to work to take care of her family after her mom was gone. It's literally all she brings up. I had a hard time thinking of a catchphrase for Katara, but I think it would be something along the lines of, I hope, as a callback to the Ember Island players where stage Katara did nothing but cry about hope throughout the whole play. But if you have a better idea for a catchphrase, please leave it in the comments because I really couldn't think of one besides that. Sokka was actually one of the designs that I liked the most out of these. I just really like how his little warrior ponytail looked on this character. Sokka was definitely the easiest not only to design, but also to categorize under a villager personality. Sokka, the Animal Crossing villager, is a true jock villager. He spends all day talking about his training, and about how he's a warrior, and he has no shame in this whatsoever. We see him working out in the plaza all the time. I also think we would see him fishing a lot. And whenever we talk to him while he's fishing, he says the classic jock villager line, I think these scaredy fish are just afraid of my huge bulging muscles. And if you fish next to him, he doesn't clap for you when you catch a fish, he just looks shocked and then walks around all grumpy for a while because you caught a fish when he couldn't. I'm not a huge fan of most of the jock villagers in New Horizons, but if Sokka was an available character, he would definitely be a permanent resident on my island. And for Sokka's catchphrase, I think it would be something goofy, and I think he would change it up a lot. I think it would be something like,
Flying kick-a-pow! Slap-a-pow!
Toph was the character design that I struggled with the most, but that I ended up enjoying a lot by the end of it. The original design I created was trying to model after Mr. Rossetti, but when I put it down and gave her hair and everything, she just ended up looking like a bear from that old Disney Channel show, The Wee Bear Bears, I think it was called. So I had to scrap it and try a few times before I was happy with it. When creating Toph's character, I was trying to model her sort of after Mr. Rossetti because it's described in the show that Toph learned earthbending directly from the badger moles, and that's why she's so good at it, is because she has such a strong bond with these creatures. The final design ended up looking much different from him, but I think that honestly is better because now she looks a little bit more like an actual badger mole and not like, I don't know what that is. Toph at first I pictured as a jock villager, even though those are solely male villagers in the Animal Crossing universe. I thought she fit in well to that personality type. However, later I started thinking, but what if she just showed up to teach you how to terraform? In New Horizons, if I remember correctly, the only terraforming tutorial we get is a little notification on our phones that tells us we can build cliffs and rivers. Tom Nook or Isabel don't come out of resident services and tell us how to do it. So, what if instead of just getting a phone notification the day after KK Slider visits for the first time, we instead get a visit from a new NPC, which would be Toph, and she says that she's here to share some of her power with you. Although you'll never be as good at it as she is, she's gonna teach you how to terraform. She's really brutal in her initial training. She makes fun of you every time you dig at the wrong place and accidentally knock over something that you just built up. And after you complete your training, she digs her way back underground like Mr. Rossetti did in the original Animal Crossing, but she doesn't go away forever. Instead of getting a little pop-up when an item is in the way or you can't knock over a cliff because something is on top of it, Toph pops up out of the ground and says, "Hey stupid, I thought I was the blind one, but obviously it's you. Can't you see there's a building there? You can't terraform that close to a structure." And then she pops back underground. And even though I don't think NPCs have catchphrases, if she did have one, I think it would obviously be Twinkle Toes. Lastly, we have pretty much everyone's favorite character, sweet baby Zuko. Oh, he's not your favorite character? I apologize, Uncle Iroh is an acceptable favorite character if it's not Zuko. If it's not one of those two characters, you're banished and you have been stripped of your honor. Goodbye. I'm only kind of kidding. TMI alert, Zuko was definitely one of my first childhood crushes, along with Danny Phantom, Harry Potter, and Shigo from Kim Possible. And I feel comfortable saying that because it seems that the entirety of TikTok seems to be thinking the same thing, so I have no shame anymore. Zuko's design was definitely a challenge for me. Really all of these designs that I've shown in this video were new challenges for me to draw because I'm not really experienced in drawing anthro characters or furries. I grew up drawing way too much Sonic to the point where I legitimately believed it was bad for my health, but it's fine. But either way, this drawing style is just pretty new to me altogether. For Zuko's design, I did my best to make him into a dragon based off of the dragons that he and Aang trained with in Season 3. We do also see in The Legend of Korra that he ends up with a dragon companion. I haven't read the comics, so I don't know if he meets the dragon before we see him with it in Korra, but either way, I did my best to make him look like that dragon companion. Zuko, I believe, would be a cranky villager. Even though I'm pretty sure the cranky villagers in Animal Crossing are supposed to be old men, Zuko is just too much of a grumpy sad boy to fit in with the other personality types. I think if you had Zuko on your island, you would need him to open up to you in the same way that you have to get Sable to open up to you in the Able Sisters shop. The first few days you talk to him, he just talks about how he's here on the island because he's looking for something. Hint, it's his honor. If you continue to talk to him through the day, he doesn't just give you the awkward, "Wow, we just keep bumping into each other today, don't we?" He gets mad at you and tells you to leave him alone. But after a while, you notice Zuko start to change. He opens up to you, but slowly. He's still pretty reserved, and he doesn't want to talk to you very much. One day, he comes up to you and says he doesn't normally do this, but he has a gift for another villager, and he wants you to deliver it for him. You deliver the gift. The next day, you go to his house, and you see that he's sick, and you need to bring him medicine right away. After you bring him medicine, he stays inside for the rest of that day. But the next day, you notice that when you talk to him, he's really nice to you. Like, you don't know what happened, but he seems to have undergone a transformation. A character arc, if you will. After that, he's your favorite villager. He gives gifts to everyone on the island, he donates lots of money to your public works projects, and he gives you gifts every day, and it's always something that you haven't cataloged yet. His DIY recipes are always new ones, and he never gives you duplicates. He's still a bit grumpy at times, but now he's just a sweet baby, and he's never leaving your island. Ever. Oh, and his catchphrase would probably be honor when you first meet him, but after he undergoes his transformation, the first thing he would ask you to do is help him think of a new one. I had a lot of fun imagining these characters that I love so much into a game I love so much. If you could, which one of these villagers would you have on your island? Leave a comment down below. If you think any of these designs should have been done differently, comment that below too. It's a lot of fun to discuss and I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you want me to make more videos like this. If you have any other characters or another series that you think I should reimagine as Animal Crossing villagers, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can come up with. Thank you so much for watching till the end, and I'll see you next time.